Hope you are doing well. Stephen Hobbs here from the Wealth Movement. Having dinner last night, someone asked me, would I take a trip to space, maybe Mars? And we were sort of asking each other, and I had like a long chuckle about that because in today's world, there's lots of conversations about Mars and space and moon and different countries and space races and all that kind of things. And it got me thinking, and my response was one that I thought that I would share with you today because it's sort of an indication of the importance of adventure and also leveraging, or what I prefer to call leveraging, your wisdom. And let me set that up for you in a really wonderful way. I enjoy trees, I enjoy nature. And sometimes, being 6'7", I sort of jokingly say, I'm sort of a tree, and I wore my green shirt here today to sort of remind myself of the crown of the tree, whether deciduous or coniferous, either way. And this notion of trees is something that is really important to me. I'll say that over and over again because my wisdom of trees goes back into my early years. In particular, I studied forestry. I began my degree in forestry and saw the light thinking, "No, I'm not quite sure I want to do it in the way in which I was learning it." I was learning more from a silvicultural point of view, which is the dealing with trees from a production point of view that fed the forest industry. Now, there are other connections to silviculture, but I'm just giving you a sense of that at the moment. Whereas I saw trees more from the perspective of recreation and outdoor pursuits. At that time that I was studying it, I was laughed at more than I was encouraged. So I decided to finish up getting my diploma in forestry and then moved on to a degree in outdoor recreation. So I think you can see where I made that shift. In that wisdom gathering about trees, I learned about dendrology, which is the study of trees, being able to identify them through leaves and shapes and trunk of bark and elements like this. And I so appreciated that is because I got to learn a lot of different things that you might just pass by when looking at a tree. Whereas if you actually stood and looked at the tree, there'd be so much more there. Now, I'm mentioning this dendrology and forestry and this sort of history of my life because my answer to the question, would I go to space, Mars, for example, I said to the person, you know what? I would. However, it would not be necessarily to Mars unless that was a place to stop off and get reprovisioned, or I wanted to do a quick visit to say hello to someone. But what I would really enjoy doing is going to a planet out there that has trees. And I said that I would like to write the Celestial Dendrology Book of the trees of space. And I explained to them, I said, well, I don't know what that would look like. I have no knowledge of what trees on other planets look like. I'm not sure we really do at this point in time. However, I would say is that anything could go. There could be monster trees. There could be trees that pick you up in their branches and sort of sway you back and forth like a hammock between two trees. I don't know. There could be ones that are very different colored, even in their presentation as you see them, whereas we often think of the green of the trees. So there could be anything going on out there, and therefore it would be fun to write that Celestial Dendrology book, to study those trees and see the features and be able to bring them back. And also to figure out activities that would go with those trees on those distant planets. We have our own ways of interacting with them. Again, I'm going back and leaning into the recreational component of trees here. So I'm wove together a response of, yes, I would like the adventure into space. Yes, I would like to go and visit with trees. I don't necessarily need to go to the desert planets. And to be able to bring back insights about those trees and ideas, investigations, interpretations of those trees in a book, because I enjoy writing and publishing and sort of reporting on what it is that I find. But I also said to myself, in answer to that question about going out into space and visiting with the trees and not knowing exactly what kind of trees I would be visiting, I sort of put this shirt on today, which was measure twice, cut once, true craftsmanship. And it was there to remind me to mention safety, because the going into space alone, going and visiting a different planet and not quite knowing what's going on, safety has to be there. And I thought, okay, that would be something that I would also weave in. I mentioned the monster trees and other elements that you might find, and safety would be an important part of this adventure. And I did this shirt is because it just reminds me is of this safety, to create safe systems and safer practices when involved with nature and trees. Even here on this planet, it's important. So that answer got a bit of a chuckle from the person I was having dinner with. And we continued on, and they explained that they probably wouldn't go in at this time based on what that person knew about space travel and where one could go with the technology that we have, and even over the next 5 to 10 years. And I said, okay, that's great, and I honor that. But I have this adventurous streak in me, this curious streak in me. And I went, what could I do to have fun out there? And that's why I gave the response that I did. So yes, trip in space, I'll go for it. Visit the trees out there, I'll go for it. Bring back a book to explain what it is that I've learned, I'd go there. So I'm hoping that this response to that sort of chuckling question over a good meal helps you understand a little bit more about the possibilities that I can share, because the adventure of legacy, of solo aging, being able to bring that to the foreground, in some ways it is visiting space, because you don't always know what's going on. You might understand the place of solo aging and legacy. It's the space, the background that you can have fun with. So I just thought that I'd pop that last little bit in there as a way to tease you into getting involved with some of the work that I'm doing at Wealth Movement, well-being and well-living to the nth degree, and the physical to social cultural movement that's available. So as always, I wish you the best and take care.